All right, here we go. Quentin Miller, welcome back to VladTV.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Yes, it's been 6 years, man. 2016 was the last time you were here.
Long time.
A lot has happened since last time.
Yeah.
A lot.
Made a little bit of noise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I want to talk about what I feel is the most important thing that happened since our last interview, and that was the car accident.
Yeah. Oh, we did have our interview before that, huh?
Yeah, the interview happened, and then the car accident happened, I think maybe a few months later.
Yeah. Nah, that was a pretty traumatic event, but still here, still standing. Kids, don't do drugs. That was my Xanax popping days, man, and it could have been worse, Could have been worse.
Okay, so can you walk me through exactly what happened leading up to that?
Yeah, actually, the crazy thing is I was trying to wean myself off the Xans, and I found out later that you can't just go cold turkey off shit like that, because it causes a seizure. So really, I wasn't even on them the day it happened. I had dramatically dropped on how much I was taking, and I guess I had a seizure. I didn't know at the time originally, but I found out later, through research and, finding out through experience, I guess.
Okay, so in terms of the pop and Xans, was that something that you had been doing for a while, or was that caused from the depression of what had happened over those last few months, or what?
I wouldn't say it was depression. I never went to college, and I was homeschooled, so I tried to get my party years out, and during that time, those are just my party years, and I was just doing too much, really. Department store was a thing in Atlanta, and it was like our Studio 50. Was it Studio 54? Studio 70? Yeah. That was my generation Studio 54, and I was just partaking in the times, but I'm glad to see, I'm still here,
Okay, so you're driving your car, then you have a seizure as you're driving?
Yeah, that's what I believe is what happened.
Okay.
I really just blacked out, and there was really no witnesses for that, but I just kind of came to that conclusion because afterwards, and I tried to continue doing it, and I had friends tell me that I had seizures, so I kind of just put two and two together, and so that when I really got completely off of it, maybe a year or two afterwards, just kind of piecing it together. So, hopefully my story will help somebody out there that is fucking around with them, to know that shit is no joke, And then I found out that, a couple of the pills that I was taking was actually fentanyl. It actually wasn't Xanax, So you gotta be careful, especially when you're getting them shits off the streets and shit, So to all the young folks out there popping pills and shit, man, please be careful, man, because it could be worse, So.
Okay, so you had a seizure and or blacked out, and what exactly happened to the car?
Oh, that shit was wrecked, man. Rest in peace to my 97. That hurt my soul. I miss that car to this day. Yeah.
Okay, and did you hit another car? Or?
I ran into a tree.
Oh.
I ran into a immovable tree. Yeah. The ambulance ride was very expensive too. The hospital was really close. If I would have had any say, I would have just asked my mom to give me a ride. God damn, bro, they be charging so much for them ambulances. But yeah.
All right, you black out, the car hits the tree, and when you wake up, are you in the ambulance, in the hospital, where?
Oh, when I woke up, they were putting me in the ambulance. And yeah, very, very painful.
Okay, and what exactly happened to your leg?
We tried to save it. The bone in the foot just died, and it was like try some more to try to save the foot, or just it was crazy. The doctor that was telling me about it, he came in and he was like, he told me the option to amputate, and I finally decided to do it, and maybe like the day after my amputation, the doctor came in and he was like, honestly, once you get up and you start walking, you get your life back. And he's like, I'll show you. And he pulled his pants leg up. And he was an amputee himself. I had no idea the whole time he was coming in helping me, so it was definitely very inspirational for me because I knew like, okay, I can get back going. And that was literally my driving force. I was buying shoes online the whole time while I'm healing and shit. Like, just like, yeah, now I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna be back walking. Like, and that's what I did. As soon as I was able to get back walking, I just tried to jump back in the game and try to catch whatever little momentum I still had, and, yeah, gave it a shot,
I mean, I don't think anyone really prepares himself for an amputation. You're born with this body and you think you're going to hold on to it for the rest of your life. And suddenly you're being told that you're going to lose your leg, the thing that allows you to walk. And obviously there's technology and so forth, but still you're being told you're going to lose your leg. Like, what level of panic or, did you go through when they told you that?
Honestly, I was so, because just trying to save the leg, I was stuck in the bed just watching life go by for so long that just the idea of just walking again, like by the time he brought up amputation as an option, I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to get up and get my life back, because that shit was just like prison, like, I mean, obviously way more comfortable in prison, but, just sitting up, just scrolling on your phone, watching everybody live life. I had a little bit of momentum at the time, just watching my momentum deplete, like you just feeling like, damn, like I don't want to be left out. I don't want to be, what I'm saying? So yeah, by the time that option came up and he was like, you could be walking in the next 6 months, I'm like, bet, like that's what I want to do. So yeah.
Cool. But could we get a shot of the leg or do you feel uncomfortable?
Oh yeah, no, I don't know if y'all can see this. Now I wear shorts and shit. I don't be giving a fuck. Like, I feel like, hey man, it's whatever. It kind of adds character to me,
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed Cujo from the Goody Mob, and he went through something similar.
Yeah. No, for sure. Definitely one of the first, if not the first. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in hip hop. It's me and Cujo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Side
How hard
note,
was the process?
Is there more famous? Like Quentin Tarantino, I would say is the most famous Quentin. Maybe Quentin Richardson. Am I number 3? I'm like top 3 Quentins, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, okay.
There you go.
I hope nobody takes my spot, but for now,
right.
It's a little badge of honor. I thought about that the other day.
How long did it take you before you could actually walk regular again with this new leg?
It took me about maybe a month or so. It took about a year, 9 months to a year before it stopped hurting. Like just walking with pain. Then I don't know, because the pain really kind of lasts a really long time, maybe longer than that, because it would be off and on, especially as the leg, it shrinks. So, you got to get resized, recasted or whatever. And, when you get the new one, then it hurts more. You get used to it. Now it's at a point where, it's kind of like cruise control. But, that first couple of years, you just got to you just going through pain, just popping Tylenols and shit,
I mean, listen, you seem to have a great attitude about it, because I know that a lot of people that go through similar things fall into depression, get back on drugs again, can't deal with their new reality and so forth. So the fact that you're smiling and laughing about it, I think is dope.
Man, got to, man. It's like, gotta look at the glass half full. It could be worse. I mean, there are times when I'm down, like I'm definitely at that age where I would have picked up like going to the gym and playing ball and shit like that. I got friends that do that shit, like, so, I think about stuff like that, but, I'm still happy that I could, still get from A to B, so.
Yeah, well, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Definitely inspired by your words. And I'm sure a lot of
Thank you.
people are as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in similar situations as you, especially
Sure.
people that are in the military and so forth that come back that are, have to deal with a new life. And I think
Exactly.
watching you will definitely inspire them.
Man, I hope so.
Well, one thing I didn't know in our last interview, because we went into your background and so forth, is that you and Frank Ocean were right there with each other early on.
Yeah, now we both were signed to Tricky Stewart at Red Zone or whatever. And like I said, he was in California, so I would see him at like events they would have, little label events or little label parties and stuff like that. I would see him around then. And then like at the time he was Lonnie Bro. I remember like we all, they put us all in a van to go to Def Jam, and he got signed. This artist named Brian J. That he got signed. I didn't get signed, but I just kind of rolled with them, and like then we, it was. Then he went from Lonnie Bro to Frank Ocean, and he just took off. Like just seeing that was inspiring in itself, Being in that camp, it's like, okay, I'm over here with, the dream is coming in and out, and then seeing Frank turn up, so it was like, okay, like, maybe I'm in the right direction, felt like I was headed the right way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could argue to say that Frank Ocean is the biggest R&B star in the world right now. Like if he were to drop right now, considering the amount of time between releases, he would eclipse anyone. If he were to drop a brand new album right now, considering the impact that he's made before.
No, he's huge, man. So seeing that is, like I said, man, that's inspirational, man. Shout out to Frank. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but yeah, man, keep doing your thing, bro.
We did our last interview in 2016, and we talked about the whole Drake writing situation. But at the time, things were kind of brand new, and a lot of things weren't really mentioned, and other stories started coming out. Everyone that was involved spoke on it afterwards. So I just kind of, want to go back and set up the proper timeline and kind of tell the whole story since you're here right now. Is that okay?
That's cool.
Okay. So you were already rapping and you were already, working with, legendary people like Dream and so forth. How did you end up originally linking up with Drake and writing for him?
Yeah, like I said, I met Boy Wonder in a random like session in Toronto that I had through the Red Zone situation I was with at the time, and so I just shot a random Hail Mary text to Wonder one summer, maybe 2013, top of 2014, and yeah, he would just, I was like, yo, can I send you some songs? He's like, yeah, I sent him some songs. He fucked with it. He was like, okay, he was working on Obi O'Brien at the time, and he had me come work with Obi O'Brien. And then I guess the word from Obi O'Brien moved over to Drake. He was just like, yo, Drake wants you to send some songs. So I sent some songs, and Wonder was like, yo, he's fucking with this Tim Band song. He's fucking with this hard. So yeah, I was really excited. I thought I was gonna have a Drake feature, because at the time Drake was just doing random features for just up and coming artists, So I thought I was about to be one of those lucky artists, and it turned out to be what it was. But yeah.
Whatever happened to Ovi O'Brien? Because he was like right there in the mix, and people were thinking he's going to be the next person out, and then he just poof disappeared.
I'm not sure. He was a really cool dude, man. Shout out to Ovi O'Brien, man. Shout out to Ovi O'Ryan. Like both of those guys, they were really cool, welcoming dudes at the time. Who knows?
Okay, so you get in the studio with Drake, and you end up basically co-writing what became Used To, 10 Bands, Legend, and 6 Man?
Yeah. Yeah. I also wrote on Bless.
Uh-huh.
I also wrote on Bless too. That was when I first met Big Sean during that session.
Okay. And what was the vibe like working with Drake and OVO 40 and everyone else?
Man, at the time, I don't know, it just felt like a dream because everybody was just so welcoming. It just felt so cool. I felt like I was, you know, a part of the shit. Like, you know, Drake literally was looking me in my face like, yo, man, this album wouldn't be possible if it weren't for you. Like, you know, you really helped. You have no idea, da da da. Like, you saying this to a dude that was working in the bakery, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought my dream was over with after tricking him, dropped me off, you know, like I was fucking crying like a baby, you know, because I'm like, how the fuck else am I gonna do this? You know, they were the people that I knew, and I ain't have nobody else, you know. So it just felt like it was just one of the best times, you know. Yeah, it felt like I was on the team.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I've listened to every Drake project. I would say if you're reading this, it's too late is my favorite Drake project, period. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you. That's actually, I feel like Drake was really rapping through that whole project. And, you know, I like Drake singing as well, but I feel like that was like that hip hop project that he put out.
I feel like, obviously I have a bias, so I don't really like to rate, if you're reading this. I just kind of like to hear what people say, you know. Obviously for me, it's special for a lot of reasons, you know. But it's good to hear, man. For real.
Yeah, no, I mean, I keep it 100 when it comes to my music opinions.
Thank you.
You know, even if they're unpopular, which they often are. But
Thank
yeah, that project I thought was great. Was just a great.
I remember specifically No Telling. That was like one of my favorite memories off the song because that was off the album because that was the one song that, you know, a lot of songs like I sent ideas and we kind of bounced ideas back and forth via email and shit like that, or, you know, but No Telling, like we kind of worked on that one together, and that was like a real cool moment for me, man. Like to go in the booth and try some shit, and then he go in, he fuck with it, and then he add some shit, you know, like it was just like, man, it felt like I made it. Like, yeah, real validation, you know, for a guy that got cut from the team from tricking them, you know. So,
well, I mean, with Drake being arguably the biggest artist in the world right now, what is it about Drake in the studio that's different from other artists that you've worked with? And you've worked with a lot of the greats.
man, to me, it was just surprising just how like regular it felt. You know, it felt like making a song with friends, you know, like just going back and forth, just bouncing. You know, I would, a lot of times I'd be nervous thinking that he wouldn't fuck with an idea, and he would fuck with an idea. And I'm just like, damn, maybe because he's Drake, I'm just thinking it's not that, but you know, like it was real like I guess down to earth vibes in the studio, you know. It wasn't no like super egos or anything. If anything, it was more encouraging me. Like I'd be like, nah, and they'd be like, nah, bro, like do your thing, bro. Like keep going, you know. So yeah, it was good times, man. While it lasted, it seemed like it was something different than what it was.
One of the verses that you wrote with Drake ended up showing on Rico with Meek Mill.
Yeah.
So how did that come together?
Yeah. At the time I was sending Drake ideas. This was post, if you're reading this, I was just sending him a bunch of ideas and nothing was really going. So the fact that nothing was going, I had this one idea, which was Rico, and I sent it. At the time, I was going back and forth between him and Drama, DJ Drama, because just to give a little context, Drake was fucking with me on the writer shit, but he wasn't fucking with me as an artist. But when I would come back to Atlanta, DJ Drama and Cannon and Generation Now, they were fucking with me and the Coolest Mac. We have a duo called Wedding Crashers. So I had a super tight relationship with Drama at the time. So I sent him that just on some like, you know, check me out. Cause I looked up to Drama the same way I looked up to Drake. You know what I'm saying? It's like these are two legends, you know, so just getting their approval on shit. A lot of times, you know, just send shit or whatever. And one random day in a club with Drama in LA, he's like, yo, you know, Meek got on that joint. And I'm like, what joint? He's like, the Rico joint. And at the time, I hadn't heard Drake's version of Rico. I didn't even know that Drake did it, you know? So by the time I found out, then, you know, we were already in it. We were in the thick of the shit.
Okay, so Walk me through what exactly happened, because you're writing for Drake,
Mm.
and you guys are having a lot of success with that. And initially, Meek Mill approached you to write for him as well.
Yeah, so after the Rico situation, and Meek has knowledge of the shit, um, then I was approached by it was never direct. It was always through like Drama or Canon, and they were like, "Yo, Meek wants you to write for him or whatever." And I was just like, "Nah," He asked me the first time, I said nah. Then like maybe a week or two later, they asked me again. I said nah. At this point, Drama was very upset. He was really upset about me saying no. And at that point, then it kind of raised like red flags for me. And that's when I started kind of hitting Drake about it, like, yo, man, they're kind of pushing it. And then like the third time, they offered cash. And then I really wasn't with it because it was just like, okay, now they really pressing it like really, really hard, It's just something about it that just seemed off, And the crazy shit was, like I fucked with Meek at the time, but it was just something about that. And then like when I had my first time actually meeting him was with Nicki Minaj in the room, and all their vibes nothing was positive. Like they was just me mugging me, and just like it was never like cool vibes, so I just wasn't trying to fuck with it.
Okay, because was there something about how you played some of the songs and Nicki was like, "Oh, we need the room," and like you
Yeah. So this post Rico time or whatever, my first time actually seeing Meek, and Nicki was there too, and Drama was he was playing. So like I said, my duo Wedding Crashers, we was all up through there. So he was playing these Wedding Crashers songs that we was recording, but he was like picking the most like Drake sounding songs, and he played this one song, I forgot what it was, but it was like a kind of Drake-ish sounding song, and he took Mac's part off it completely. He just like only played my shit, and they was just looking. They was like, "Oh, that's him." I was like, "All right," and that's when Nicki was just like, "I need the room," and just like kicked us out the room, and the vibe was always like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was never like love. Hey man, I'm trying to work. Da da da. Like it was always like, I don't know, some vindictive shit. And now after hearing even Drama's perspective, and which I guess is understandable. A guy, messes with your girl and then like puts it in a song. Obviously, you're gonna want some get back, but it's just unfortunate that that was kind of done through me. So,
what do you mean a guy messes with your girl and puts in a song? Which one?
I mean, he said on Drink Champs, I guess the summer line, the summer. I don't want to mix up the name, but I guess Drake made a line about a girl he was messing with at the time, and Drama admitted that he wanted some get back, and that's kind of where the origin of everything he did came from. And I kind of just was just this bystander.
Okay, when Meek wanted to work with you the second time and offered you money, can you say how much he offered you?
It was like 15.
Okay, so a nice chunk.
Yeah.
Nice chunk of money. Okay. And you turned down Meek the second time, and Drama was upset that you're not working with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're kind of caught in the middle a little bit because you have a relationship with Drama as well, but you have a relationship with Drake. And how long after all this happened did Meek and Drake start to beef with each other?
Well, it wasn't very long, because then it was like maybe after the third time, then I told Drake about it. And I was like, man, it's kind of weird, man. Like he's just pressing it so hard. But I'm like turning it down, bro. Like, I'm not trying to work with bro. I'm trying to work with you. And so he was like, yeah, that is weird. And then Meek was tweeting stuff before he tweeted my name. He was tweeting like little sub stuff. And me and Drake were like screenshotting and sending it to each other like, yo, you think he's talking about this? Yo, you think he's talking about this? And then next thing you know, he says he puts it all out there, and that just changed everything. That changed my relationship with Drake. That changed my relationship with Drama and them. That changed my relationship with everybody. It was just bad.
Right, because then Meek starts to beef with Drake, and then all these reference tracks start to get released, and you're essentially doing some of the lines that Drake ended up doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, although in the music industry, you understand, I mean, all you have to do is look at the writing credits and you understand that there's multiple writers on a lot of these big songs, but to the public, this whole image that Drake writes every single line that's ever been spit has now been slightly affected.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're caught right in the middle of all this.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It was wild, man. I say it all the time. Like, you know, he was hitting me like, damn, man, they trying to give you credit for all my shit. And it's just like, bro, I never wanted that. I'm not that I don't want credit for shit that I didn't do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do want to be appreciated for what I did do, you know? So it's like, you got to think how twisted and bittersweet it is. You got Funk Master Flex playing your songs. And you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be happy about it, but at the same time, it's destroying like your whole situation. Like, so you can't, you know what I'm saying? People know your name now, which is, as an artist, you want that, but you don't want it like this. And so it was just like a poisonous way of, you know, getting there, I guess.
Right. So now all this is out there. And I think, was it around that time that 40 actually, you know, stepped forward and said, okay, look, no one's going to say that I wasn't instrumental in Drake's career and continue to be. So let me just kind of break all this down. Quentin Miller did, you know, work on this project, but this is really the only project. It's not like he wrote everything Drake's ever written for these past 15 years.
One thing I don't like that they did, man, and, you know, in hindsight, even then, you know, I wrote that letter, you know, for them, you know, we talked about it and everything. Just, I don't know, just diminishing. You know, I've never been one like, yo, I do it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I am, you know, I'm not that, you know what I'm saying? But it's up to them to put a light on me as well. And they felt like they had to diminish me to keep the situation. But then today, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, shout out to 21, but you see them like, oh yeah, me and 21, we helped each other. We worked, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. Like, so I gotta be lit like 21 to get that, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it was, you know, it was this kid. He had ideas. They weren't great ideas, but, you know, it's just like, why are you shitting on me? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could easily uplift me. I see, bro, uplift all kinds of artists, you know what I'm saying? And it just put me in such a bad situation. Like, it just put a bad taste in people's mouth for me, especially in the industry. You know, like, I was in this gray area.
Okay. So in this one interview, you said that you Beanie Siegel'd yourself in this situation.
Yeah, I feel like when I said that, I was referring to like how Beans was like, for the Rockefeller shit, like he was riding or whatever, you know, like, and I feel like, you know, I wasn't riding like Beanie Siegel, obviously, but I definitely was. I was OVO first, like in any situation, you know, like in any situation, I was riding, you know, and even down to me putting the letter out there, you know, and kind of, you know, downplaying my involvement with everything, you know, that was, you know, me doing that for them, you know, and it kind of just, in the end, it showed like their whole intention the whole time was, okay, get him to clean it up and then fuck that guy, you know, like that kind of seemed like how it felt.
Well, all this is going on, and I guess you were supposed to meet Hit Boy, and you go to the Nike store in LA.
Oh yeah, the Meek shit, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then you come out the Nike store, and you run into Meek?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I told this story a couple times, but yeah. Caught me out the Nike store.
Okay, and from what I understand, when Meek went back to the car, I had also heard that Nicki Minaj was the one that kind of escalated the situation and told him to go back out there and handle the business, handle his business.
Man, where there's smoke, there's fire, man. There's no way you could be hearing shit. I'm hearing shit. Drama's alluding to shit, And again, this is coming from a Nicki Minaj fan. I know the bars, they gonna hate me and they gonna say stuff about me. But listen, I'm a fan. Like I've always been a fan. I ride for Nicki, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like that was if that's true, because it's still alleged and I can't, put that jacket on there, but if it is true, damn, man, that's all I can say is like, damn.
Yeah, but I mean, Nicki has a history of sending men as crash dummies. I remember at one point her and Academics got into it and she was like, my husband gonna come fuck you up and, this type of thing. So if that really happened, it wouldn't have surprised me at all.
Hey, man, who knows, man?
Who knows? Okay, well, you end up getting assaulted by one of his people. And I guess then at that point, you had a studio session with Travis Scott, like right afterwards?
Yeah, man. Well, it was a studio session with Hit Boy. But, when you pull up on Hit Boy, like, you never know who's going to show up that day, And it just so happened. Some days you go to Hit Boy and nobody comes. It's just Hit Boy. And then it just so happened to be fucking Travis Scott pulls up that day. We made a couple ideas that got leaked to the internet. But, that was a cool experience minus the busted lip in the situation,
Right. And you were actually telling everyone in the studio what had just happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have no choice. People asking, what's up with your lip, Like, so I try to through the wire the situation,
And how did everyone in the studio react to that? Because I'm sure some of them probably know me.
It's just, damn, man. That's, it's all good, though. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah. Well, and you and Travis Scott actually had a few songs you guys did together, right?
Yeah, we had a couple ideas that we had worked on that unfortunately got leaked or whatever. Yeah, man, shout out to Hit Boy, man. He kept putting me in situations. He had brought me to a session with Rihanna one day, and he was there. Party Next Door was there. That was my first time seeing The Dream since I had left Tricky Situation. And, it felt good to see Dream and be in the room, like, on my own, you know what I'm saying? Not with that situation, like, yeah, I'm here. And I remember, like, it was like a point we was in the room, me, Party, and Travis, and Hit, and it was kind of like dull. And Dream just walked in. He's like, what y'all doing, man? He's like, turn the mic on. He laid like the hardest shit in like 5 minutes and just left. Like, it was some real OG, like, big dog shit, man. Like, shout out to Dream, man. Again, it's all love for Dream.
Well, that Meek Mill situation happened outside the Nike store, but no one really knew about it. And I remember I did an interview with Taxstone.
Yeah, you caught me off guard.
Yeah. So me and Taxstone did an interview, and he brought that up in our interview. And then after the interview, he said, something, take that part out. And I'm like, I got you. So his interview came out first in its entirety, but that part was taken out. And then, by coincidence, me and you had an interview scheduled afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit up Taxstone. I said, listen, I'm about to interview Quentin. Can I play him that part? It's up to you. You told me to take it out. But if you allow it, I'll play him that part. And he was like, yeah, go ahead. Play him that part. So that's why in that clip you hear him say, okay, but don't put that out.
Flex said he had the what's the dude that wrote for Drake? Quentin Miller. He had the Quentin Miller reference track.
Okay.
And he was dropping it in the Drake shit or whatever. I knew he didn't have it. So I tweeted Hot 97 out here lying again.
How did you know he didn't have it?
I had some intel. I had some very close sources to the to the whole situation. You know what I mean? So I knew he didn't have it.
Well, I mean, allegedly those records, came from DJ Drama. That's who.
Yeah. It was recorded at DJ Drama Studio.
Yeah, like DJ Drama's ex went out and said that Drama went and leaked the records to, to Meek, and then Drama denied it. And I've known Drama for like 10 years, and I don't know what happened. But do you have any idea the story behind all that shit?
It was just a lot of stories, and that's what they are, stories. So I can't really say one factual reason or why it happened and shit like that, because it's almost like 4 different stories. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't want to just be pumping no false shit out there. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just say I don't know. You know what I mean? Personally, on really what happened. But
you basically called out Flex for saying he got that
4 hours before I tweeted, I said Flex is lying. He doesn't have a record. Hot 97 is trolling us so we can listen to them so they get some ratings tonight. And people was like, people know I be telling truthful shit. So they was like, word, you serious, Tax? So they atting them. Yo, Ebro is Tax saying this, that, and the third. So they watching it, and then, Flex comes on, no record.
Yeah. And I have been in situations where I've had problems with people that just came out of nowhere at me, calling me a faggot or whatever else. And, 3 years later, I have a conversation with them, they want to work it out. And it's like, why'd you call me a faggot? For no reason, when I just seen you a month before. Man, people was in my ear saying that you was hating on me and whatever else, but now that I'm talking to you, I know that's not true. And so I've seen these type of dumb situations escalate from outside people. Yeah. You think that's kind of what happened?
Yeah, it's possible. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I heard a couple, man, listen, there's a couple of stories and they all like mesh in, but it's like, it's weird. Like from what I ain't even gonna say that shit. It's that shit. We gonna say it, just don't put it up. Meek wanted the motherfucker to write for him.
Meek wanted Quentin Miller
to write for him.
To write
and Quentin
for
Miller
him.
wouldn't write for him. So they blew it up like this motherfucker write for Drake. You know what I mean? And that's how it really came out. And that's why Dream Chasers beat Quentin Miller up in LA and all that shit.
Wait, Quentin Miller got beat up?
Yeah. They ain't see yo about that shit. They beat Quentin Miller up in Foot Locker or some shit.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, that happened.
And
people was at me that worked in the Foot Locker when it was going on.
Okay. So Quentin Miller got beat up by the Dream Chasers.
Yeah.
Because
this is after all the everything.
After the everything. Well, why were they so mad at him? Why were they mad at him?
I don't know. That's what I don't know. That's why I be thinking sometimes that story might have been true about him wanting the boy to write for him, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. See, and I took it like, when you showed me that part, I was like, oh shit, like, is that like word around town? Like, is people talking about it? So then I felt like I had to own it. I had to jump on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't want to hide from it or, whatever. Even with the ghostwriting situation, I feel like if Drake would have just owned it, it would have kind of took the power out of it, but it just kind of, the denial of it and the mystery of it just made people more interested and more intrigued. But if you just take the sheet off the ghost,
Well, yeah, I mean.
Damn, that was a bad choice of words. Fuck. I really didn't mean that. I really didn't mean it like that.
I caught that too. Okay. So that interview comes out, and I think it was like, it came out on Easter. I remember one of my staff members saying that, like, I think from your camp, someone was like, yo, we're trending higher than Jesus right now. Like, when that came out, it was like.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was crazy, man. Man, a lot of clout. You would think that would have transferred into other areas of my life, but nah, it was just clout. Just clout.
Right. Well, because our interview dropped and it became the biggest thing of that day. And Meek Mill responded and he said, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I don't know, and then like I saw, rappers were like, oh man, he on some snitching shit. I wasn't snitching, man. I ain't on that shit. I ain't trying to get nobody, jammed. Like I said, I wouldn't even said nothing about it. But once it got shown to me, and I'm like, okay, words going around. I didn't want to shy away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to own it. Like,
right. Because I think around that time, Meek Mill said that interview that I did with you was actually masterminded by Drake. And I could tell you, me and Drake weren't speaking at all. We had spoken once or twice when we were out, and it actually wasn't even a good situation. We actually had an altercation.
And he didn't want me to speak at all. He didn't want me to. Yeah, that's obvious. The complete opposite of, if anything, he just wanted me to just fall back into the shadows.
Yeah, no, that definitely was not orchestrated by Drake. Drake didn't put some money in my pocket or, telling me to go do that. That was something, and I'd explain the parts of how it all came together because like I said, I needed permission from Taxstone. He was the one that brought the information to me and so forth. But it came out, of course, I think Meek was on papers at the time or so forth. So I think he had to say.
Yeah, he had to, And, like I said, I wasn't going to be on no pressing charges shit. I don't want to, I ain't on that shit, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm not about to cap and act like oh no, ain't nobody. Then somebody dropped some video or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I ain't know how far the word was going to go. I knew bro had the camera out when, the shit went down. So I ain't know if it was going to be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? You capping about it, like, put some shit out or whatever, so I was looking out for me, Meek thinks about Meek and Drake thinks about Drake, but, sometimes I have to think about myself, and, just as a man, so.
Right. And then the fallout from this whole situation happened. Taxstone said he got death threats in Philly over the whole story. But Taxstone is going to be Taxstone, so he wasn't really tripping. And then OG Mako came forward and said that you had blamed him over some of the stuff that happened.
Well, that's because OG Mako because Meek didn't know my name at the time. I mean, I'm sure he would have found out though, but he was like, who said my name? I mean, he said, what's his name? What's the guy's name that writes the shit? And OG Mako, he put out, he told him like, oh, it's Quentin Miller, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it just felt like he got himself involved in some shit that like just didn't have nothing to do with him. He didn't really know the situation and what was going on. I don't know, man. Even y'all interview that y'all had, man, like, I don't know. So a lot of things were exaggerated, but it's crazy because I'm cool with so many people in OGG, you know what I'm saying? So I don't got beef with OG Mako, man. Like, shout out to OG Mako. I hope he's doing all right. Shout out to the whole OGG, man. I'm cool with too many people. We got too many good mutual friends, for that shit. So I'm not harboring nothing, but he did inform me though. He did jump in there. Like it is what it is.
Well, you had said that Meek had kind of Kanye'd you. You said it was sort of like my Taylor Swift moment, and Meek Mill kind of Kanye'd me. I got Kanye'd by Meek, but it's all good.
Because it was like, I don't know, it's just really inconsiderate. Even, I don't know. It's just very inconsiderate. It's like, I don't matter. It's like, I don't matter. All the way up to, I don't know, maybe just because I was just a writer or, I don't know. It was just like, I just didn't matter. Just like, fuck this guy. Even with drama and them, like, just kind of just throwing my whole life, on the back burner, just like, whatever, just to get at a nigga, like, but what about me? What about me taking care of my family? And, the fact that I put my whole life into this shit. I don't have no other skills. I ain't go to college, like, I make music. That's my skill, so it's like, they don't really think about the repercussions of shit that goes on, Like, I'm working with a nigga that literally is about to change my life, even though, I was in my horrible publishing situation with Tricky. So I never got a publishing check off of any Drake songs.
Wait. You never got a publishing check off of any Drake song?
No. I never got a single publishing check off any songs. I had to feed my family off getting paid under the table in that situation because Tricky and them wouldn't let me go. And it took me, I didn't get out that deal till 2019, 2020. I signed 2011.
Oh,
Yeah, and they wouldn't let me out. I had to let go of a lot of shit just to get out. But even while I was in it, I never got a publishing check or nothing. I was just living, just grinding, bro. Like I was grinding it out, just hoping that one day that one song, or working with that one artist is gonna change something. And that was the Drake thing, but it just didn't change anything.
okay. So you did what, 6 songs with Drake?
Those are the ones on paper.
Okay, so 6 songs with Drake, and based on what, the upfront money that they gave you for the publishing deal, they recouped all that Drake money, basically. I just don't get how that worked, because you would think
they really wouldn't tell me any information because they really didn't have to give me information. But even before before the Drake deal, before the Drake situation, when I was working at the bakery and shit, I had a publishing deal. You know, they own a very popular studio in Atlanta. They wasn't letting me record in the studio, nothing. I'm like working warehouse jobs and all this shit with a publishing deal, like signed to a publishing deal. So when the Drake shit happened, I still had a publishing deal. And it I guess worked out for them because they knew, well, you're in a fuck situation. You gonna need some money. You know, they offered me money that allowed me I don't have to go to work. Like, I'm just like, yeah, you know, this is the next step. You know what I'm saying? And so by the time it all blew up, I hadn't even worked out whatever situation could have been worked out to where, you know, my life would have been changed. And so by the time it all blew up and Drake wasn't fucking with me no more and Drama wasn't fucking with me no more, I still was in that publishing deal, you know? So, yeah.
yo, that's crazy. I mean, because you would think that, okay, if they gave you, let's just say $100,000.
It was 30.
Okay, so they gave you $30,000 and they got 6 Drake songs out of it?
And everything else that I did after the Drake shit, like a few other songs that I did, like some Wiz Khalifa shit, some G-Eazy songs, shit like that.
Wow. But isn't it, once you recoup, then at that point it's like a split or anything else like that based on the upfront money? Or how do they get 100% of it? I just don't understand the business behind that.
I don't want to get too much into the details, but it was a fuck deal. It was just a fuck situation. And, you know, I tried to go to him. Honestly, that was one of my most hurtful situations in my music business scenario, because, you know, they look like me, you know, like, especially at the time I was chubbier, you know what I'm saying? But they look like me. They look like you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And I put my trust in them. Like, I just don't understand why you wouldn't teach me the game. You know what I'm saying? And even afterwards, like, okay, you drop me, and then I'm working these jobs, all this shit, and then I find a way to do the Drake shit. I find a way, my own way. Why don't you just take me in? Show me how to get money. Like, y'all know how to get money out this publishing shit. Tricking them been getting money out this publishing shit since the 90s. Why don't you show me? You know what I'm saying? Instead of just showing me that it's fuck you. You know, like, and that's what it was. You know, it would just be, oh, well, we're going on vacation. We'll talk about it later. Oh, what about me? What about the fact I gotta buy my daughter a tablet for school? Shit like that. Like, I gotta eat too. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, it's like nobody in this business, it's like I don't matter, you know? And it took me a long time to realize that, you know, like.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I know I'm not the only one that's been in fuck situations, you know, like,
yeah.
So.
Okay, and I remember Drama did an interview recently where he basically touched on the situation, and he basically said that everyone did something wrong. He did something wrong, you did something wrong, Drake did something wrong, Meek did something wrong, and Nicki Minaj did something wrong. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I sent Drama and Cannon the Rico reference and 10 bands. Well, I didn't send 10 bands. My homegirl sent 10 bands. But it was I wouldn't have connected with DJ Drama and Cannon if she did it. Like, she told him, hey, Quentin did that, you know what I'm saying? And if I wouldn't have had that going on, because it's not like Drake was fucking with me as an artist. So I'm coming back to Atlanta and I got Drama and Cannon fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, for Quentin, it was a great thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it was a lookout. But you know, yeah. But at the time, you know, there was nothing like this at that time. You know, like references, ghostwriter and rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like I had any like, oh, I don't want to end up like that person. I think I kind of set the bar or the catalyst for that a ghostwriting scenario. You know, like.
Well, yeah, because unfortunately, it created months of dialogue, and I'm guilty of this as well on my platform, of people talking about, can you put Drake in the all-time rapper category because it's now found out that he doesn't write everything himself. So
you understand how unfortunate that feels to be, even with the Nas situation. It's like, you know, people talking about, bro, this is Nas, man. I respect Nas and love Nas like any other rapper in this world, you know, and to get an opportunity to work with the man. And, you know, he's telling me, yo, man, you one of the dopest new rappers I heard, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm taking this in. This is a great thing. You get the opportunity to work with somebody and then people find out and then they tear him down because he worked with you rather than look at you like, damn, you must be dope. Cause that's what you expect. But it don't turn out that way. It turn out they get burnt up. So then they looking at you crazy and then they want nothing to do with you at all. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, hip hop is dicey in that way. There's so much that goes behind you writing your own raps, and unlike other forms of music, co-writers and so forth aren't embraced in the same type of way. Like when a pop artist comes out, I mean, Beyonce has an army of writers behind her. You know,
sure.
I'm sure Bad Bunny has other writers that are collaborating with him, and every big artist, you know, Celine Dion, you know, Whitney Houston has an army of writers, Mariah Carey, like any, you know, huge boy band obviously are not writing all their own stuff. But when it comes to rappers, like the actual like guys who are not pop rappers, but are just like, you know, the real rappers, there's always going to be a little asterisk if they don't write all their own shit, unfortunately. And I don't agree with this either. Because Kanye, like I said, has an army of writers. Just look on the back of any album cover.
Facts.
But hip hop is just funny in that way. And
I feel it.
It just is what it is.
I feel it. I mean, it is what it is, man, I guess. But I don't be having no intentions of, I'm not trying to take the light or the glory from any of these artists that I'm working with. I'm happy as fuck that they value my ideas. It blows my mind that they value my ideas because I look up to these guys like everybody else. Like, come on, man. Like, these are some of the biggest names in hip hop and music, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, so it just kind of just ruins it. Like, it just ruins it, you know?
Well, by 2018, Drake and Pusha T are starting to go at it. And Drake drops the Duppy freestyle. And he's got the line in there. And as for the Q, man, I changed his life a couple times. N-word was at Kroger working double time. Y'all acting like he made the boy when I was trying to help the guy. And you actually responded.
I worked at Publix.
Yeah.
That's not the same. It is not the same. The cakes aren't the same. The deli, like, forget about it. It's not even close. Like, don't put me down there.
Well, Drake put you in the Duppy freestyle, and then Pusha T had the line, it was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin Miller.
Yeah, and that was interesting too, because so me and Pusha, we already had our own relationship. I had met him through Hit Boy. And, you know, we talked, and I remember having conversations with him like, yo, man, like, I'm a huge fan of you, like, you a legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, you know, you and Drake got y'all shit going on, but, you know, like, that don't, I'm not really a part of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to make my own name for myself in this business, you know? And, you know, he said it and understood it or whatever. And I remember when he said that line, that it was written for Nas, like Nas, but it came from Quentin. I remember I felt like, damn, bro. And I texted him. I was like, damn, bro, like, I told you I wasn't really trying to be part of this shit, man. I kind of feel like you used me like a pawn or whatever. And so I remember I think he had a phone interview with Breakfast Club the next day, or he went on Breakfast Club, one of them. And he said, like, you know, and I just want to say, I think Quentin is a dope artist. And, you know, I feel bad for Quentin, da-da-da. Like, he, like, went out his way to, like, clear that up for me. And I, you know what I'm saying, I really appreciated that. I really respected that because, you know, and even at the beginning of the story of Adidon, he was, like, ghostwriting aside. Like, he just completely, you know, pushed that part to the side, you know? So that was that side of it for sure. And then on the Drake side of it, yeah, man, it's interesting because, you know, that man changed my life. I don't know if he meant to change my life, but he did change my life. So it's just like, that was just a tough spot to be in, like, or just in the middle of it. Even though, you know, it's not like he really fucks with me anyway, but still, I still have like a, you know, empathy for that situation. Boy Wonder's my man, so.
As all this was happening, Kanye actually chimed in and he apologized to Drake and said that he should have talked to Pusha about the Quentin Miller line.
I can't lie, it was pretty exciting seeing that he knew what my name was. Again, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, you want these people to say your name and know who you are and all this shit, but in the context of it, it's just like, this ain't how I want it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be like, I want to work with this guy. Quentin is dope. Oh, he was a part of these songs. Come to the studio. Let's do shit like this. But that's not how I was. I was just this, like, you know, figure or this pawn, I guess, in the whole situation, you know?
Well, you touched on this, I think, on Everyday Struggle. You actually compared the Drake and Pusha T diss songs.
Yeah.
And you kind of compared it to Ether and Super Ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, now that some time has passed, when you looked at those two diss songs, who do you think won that battle? Because I think that was the one battle that people didn't fully give it to Drake the way, you know, they did with the whole Meek Mill thing.
I mean, I still feel like obviously it was a Pusha W. Like I said, like, you know, especially, I mean, the more we go into the future, it gets even more intense, you know? It's like, I feel like maybe back in the day, Super Ugly, people weren't all the way ready for that TMZ style shit yet, you know, like, but in today's time, you know, the Super Ugly, it might get a little more reception, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the more you cut, you know what I'm saying, the more spiteful things you say, the deeper you go with it, you know, or the dirtier you get with it, it gets appreciated, you know, especially in today's time with, you know, sensationalism and shit, you know, like, so I feel like for the time, you know, and then, you know, just, yeah, you know, push it got that one.
Well, yeah.
I did like Duppy though, like sonically Duppy was good. Like the beat was fire, you know, the flow was crazy, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, Adidon got it.
Well, right, because on Story of Adidon, well, first of all, he put up that blackface picture of Drake, which ended up being an actual real photo from a photo shoot back in the day.
Yeah, on a lot of levels, yeah, that was
yeah,
that was a lot.
I mean, being in the media for 15 years, a lot of stuff comes to me early. I had never seen that. Right.
Yeah,
but more importantly, but more importantly, he went and revealed a whole baby that Drake had that no one knew about.
That was a lot, man. But you know, you win some, you lose some. That's all I can say on that one, man. That was one. I'm glad Drake didn't try to go lower than that, you know, because it just would have been so out of character. He would have had to, you know, stretch himself so thin on that. Like, so, you know, that was just one where, you know, Pusha took it there. He took it there first. And,
yeah.
You know, Gotta be willing to take it there first. Sometimes you get in a fight with that guy who's throwing the hands, and sometimes you get in a fight with that guy who's gonna pull out the blade on you. And
Yeah,
but you know, from Pusha's perspective, he had to pull out the blade. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake was ending people. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, it is what it is.
Yeah, Pusha definitely pulled out the blade on that song. He went all the way in. And, you know, I mean, made for some great hip hop.
I know me saying that is gonna make Drake not fuck with me even more, but I really don't have. It's not like, you know, I don't have nothing against it. It's just as an observer, it is what it is.
Well, I think that was everyone's general, you know, general feeling. I don't know too many people that said that Drake won that particular battle. I mean, you're going to have the Drake super fans, of course, but I think as a whole in hip hop, everyone had to really recognize what Pusha T did in that. And listen, and he continues to really kind of push the envelope musically and really is very much an important artist.
Man, what, man? Like, he's a legend, man. Like,
yeah.
Lord Willing was one of my favorite rap albums of all time. Like,
yeah. Shout out to the Clips.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and then that same year, Drake and Meek actually squashed their beef, and they became all buddy-buddy. They're playing ping pong with each other, and you know,
which was interesting.
As you're watching this whole thing unfold the way it did, how did you feel?
I mean, yeah, it just felt like it was all worthless. It was all pointless, and you know, honestly, the Meek thing, I never had a good experience with Meek Mill. I remember one time, Rick Ross had me and Mac, Wedding Crashers, had us pull up to his the Promised Land, and man, I was so nervous. I was just corny as hell. Him and Mac was just building, chopping it up, and Meek just so happened to be there. He was just mugging me the whole time. Like it was just, I never got positive vibes from Meek, so I don't really expect nothing from Meek, but it's really the drama in the Drake situation. Like even drama and Drake like linking back up for the Jack Harlow video and everything. Shout out to Jack Harlow. I don't got no issues with Jack Harlow, but you know, it's just like, damn, like, how do y'all do the reunited, we all good without QM? Like I'm literally at the center of the whole shit. And then he went on his interview with Roy Amon, he's just talking about me in past tense, like, you know, hey man, he was the only one and sorry it happened. But you're like one of the biggest entities in music. Drake is probably the biggest entity in music. Y'all have the power to fix that. Why are you acting like you don't? Why are you talking about it this way? Unless that's how you want it to be. And if that is how you want it to be, then why? Because I'm not he said it himself, you know what I'm saying? But so that was kind of lame to me. I felt more about it for drama than I did for Meek. I don't expect nothing from Meek. Like I know I get the message from day one. You don't fuck with me. You don't care about me. It is what it is. I don't expect shit from that guy, you know what I'm saying? But from drama, like that was strange. And I'm still cool with Cannon, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still love with Lake. It's, you know, they'll check on me every now and then, you know what I'm saying? But like, don't talk about it like, oh, it's just nothing we can do. Yes, it is. It's definitely stuff y'all can do, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't want you to fuck with me if you don't really fuck with me, you know, so.
Well, if you want my perspective on this whole thing, as someone that has been in the music industry now for 15 years and has had various clashes with various people, big and small, what I've learned over time is that it doesn't really matter what you say or do. A person will or will not fuck with you based on the level of power that you have at that time. I've beefed with people like NLE Chopper. We went back and forth and we was calling each other all types of bitches and so forth. But we ultimately came together and did an interview because he recognized the power that I have in the industry and I recognize the power that he has. And we realized it'd be better for us to work together than to keep beefing. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So from your perspective, I feel that it's, you know, as long as you keep building and keep becoming more of a important figure in hip hop, that's when they're going to have to come back and make things right with you and say, oh, I was tripping or whatever else. And until they don't feel, if they don't feel that's necessary at that point, they're going to do what they do. You know what I mean? So you can't even really put it on them. You got to be like, okay, cool. I got to keep pushing. I got to keep becoming a more important
No. I mean, I definitely don't put that. I don't put like where I'm at on them at all. Like at the end of the day, every man walks their own path. I'm just saying, don't talk about it like, oh, there's nothing we can do. Cause that is bullshit. Like, and we all know this.
Of course there's something you could do. I mean,
come on.
Taxstone, like for example, I'll tell you this, my personal, as someone who's involved in this situation at all, Taxstone used to talk all types of shit about Meek Mill. Like he used to just trash him all day long. And before he went to prison, they did an interview together. He was in Meek Mill's, Rolls Royce doing an interview because Meek realized that, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to fight this guy. This guy's getting too big. I might as well humble myself and do some shit with him and get him on my side as opposed to just going back and forth with him.
For sure.
I think that's ultimately how it works. And this is why I don't really hold my tongue that much when it comes to different people, hoping that maybe one day they'll work or not work with me. Just do your job.
Exactly.
And keep doing what you need to do. And if it's, if they understand your power in the future, it doesn't matter what got said in the past. Like if it makes sense, they'll keep fucking with you.
Plus, I want it to be, genuine too. I don't want it to be disingenuous. Like, so.
Well, you ended up dropping the Destiny Freestyle where you addressed some of this stuff.
I wish I didn't do that ending to Destiny Freestyle where I was just talking and just naming artists and stuff. Even though I shout out to the artists that I named, but Destiny Freestyle, I like it. 40 mixed it.
Really? That's crazy.
40 mixed Destiny Freestyle. I asked him if it was okay if I put him in the credits, and he said, nah.
So even after all those years, it's like 2 years after the whole situation, you and 40 are still cool?
No. Immediately after that, we were not cool through conversations.
After
It was like a small window of time of us being cool, and then, at least it seemed like I don't know, and then it was a discussion afterwards that showed that we weren't cool, and especially after because it was like right afterwards the Pusha T situation, the infrared freestyle or whatever. That started happening, and it was like we were immediately uncool. Like immediately, the talks of us linking back up was over with. But yeah, there was a bombshell for y'all. That was mixed by 40 for sure.
Okay, and on that Destiny Freestyle, you had a line. You said, "I am not upset. Joke's on you. I still got a check."
I was just rapping.
Okay,
I was just rapping, trying to speak stuff into existence. I was struggling then, but I was struggling when I blinked with you for the Vlad shit. I flew out there on my own dime. I was dropping QM, the project or whatever. Man, I bought some shirts. The shit didn't sell. I was broke for like 2 months. trying to push the ship on my own, man, but you know how rappers do, man. Sometimes we just say stuff, we just speak it to existence, or at least attempt to.
Well, that next year, 2019, you actually announced that you're retiring. You said, honestly, outside of a feature here and there, I think I'm going to step away from rapping for a while. For those of you that listen to QM, sorry if I let y'all down. Not going to say forever, but for now, QM equals retired.
Yeah, I hate that I did that. I hate when I see people tweet that stuff. Like, I hate that I did that, because like, how do you retire from rap? Like, it takes nothing to get back on the microphone, and so I don't say that anymore. If you step away, you step away. If you do it again, you do it again. But I was just down, and that was just a day where I was emotional, and shit was getting to me. I mean, shit gets to me still. It depends on the day.
Well, The next year, 2021, Hit Boy is working with Nas on King's Disease 2. And you came in and you worked on The Pressure by Nas.
Yeah.
Okay. And your name is in the writing credits, so this is not any ghostwriter type shit.
Exactly.
This is all factual.
Exactly. And I wasn't, at this point, I'm not doing ghostwriter shit. That's why I was so frustrated in that video that I did, because I'm like, I'm not doing that, you know? So it's like, I was hit by people from the circle to clear it up. And that was just so frustrating. Like, why do I have to clear it up? Like, what do I clear up? What does that even mean, clear it up? Does that mean to say that I didn't work with Nas? But I did work with Nas. I literally was in the room with Hit Boy and Nas. It was just us three. And we worked. I didn't say, oh, I wrote all of this. I didn't say none of that shit. I just said I worked with Nas, which is a fucking honor. Like, I am so proud of the fact that I got to work with Nas. Like, Nas is telling me how dope I am to my face. I'm like, I had finally just got out of that publishing deal. So I'm starting from scratch, trying to build my catalog up from scratch. And I'm working with Nas. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting, man. Oh yeah, and in that clip that you had reposted that went viral, it does sound like I said I worked with Jeezy. G-Eazy. I never worked with Jeezy. I would like to work with Jeezy, but I haven't got a chance to work with Jeezy yet. Just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
I know Jeezy probably like, when is... That's my Jeezy voice. When that nigga work with me?
Well, okay. So just to clear it up, what exactly did you do on the song The Pressure?
Man, I was just a part of it, man. I don't even want to do all that. I was a part of the song though, man, and people gonna have to live with it. I know, like, people are hurt. People still comment at me like, you lying. Oh, no, you ain't. Yes, man, I did, man. I did. And I'm not saying it to hurt Nas's legacy. I'm only a part of one song. I'm only a part of the first song. I worked with Nas. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Was that the only song that you worked on with Nas?
That's the only song that I worked on with Nas that came out.
Aha. Got it. And I mean, you worked with a bunch of other artists. I mean, you mentioned G-Eazy, you mentioned Big Sean, you also did stuff with Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah, I worked with Big Sean. Big Sean, man, that really broke my heart, man, because like I said, man, so I did, my first time meeting Big Sean was with the Bless song way back in the day. And I remember like meeting him in the studio with Drake, and he was just like, man, he kept asking about, you know, parts of the song. And eventually, after like the third time he asked, like, you know, Drake told him like, yo, you know, me and Q, you know, whatever, that's what they call me. And so when I get to working with Sean on this last project of What You Expect with Hit Boy, I'm part of 3 songs. There's only 6 songs on there. Man, we texting and talking every day. I'm pulling up on Sean crib like every other day. I remember one day I'm at his crib and I see the BET Hip Hop Award for Bless. And I was just like, damn, I ain't know this won an award. He's just like, yeah, bro, you don't even know that song that helped me a lot, da-da-da. I'm like, man, this a full circle moment, bro. He's like, yeah, bro, this is full circle. So I'm really like looking up to it. And then maybe like a week before the album drops, he's just not responding to me at all. Then like a week before, I'm in the studio with Hit Boy. I just randomly hear in a conversation with Hit, yeah, the album drop next week. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even know. So then I start hitting him, and then I'm getting text from his manager. Now I'm only talking to his manager. I'm like, well, what happened? So I'm talking to the manager. Then the shit come out. We still ain't signed the paperwork or nothing. My name was not on the credits.
Oh.
It was not on the credits for like the first 3 months. So I'm blowing them up. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Because I didn't know we was doing the ghostwriter thing, because if that was the case, I would have asked for some cash. And they're just like, nah, man, nah, it's just until we get all the paperwork, we can't get the credits. We can't get everybody's name on the credits. But I'm like, but everybody else's name is on there. The features, the keyboard players, everybody. My man Mac from Wedding Crashers, he wrote the hook on Offense, the song with Babyface Ray, and there's another feature on there, I forgot. So he wrote the hook on there, you know what I'm saying? His name on there. So then I had to fight. They tried to play me on the publishing. I had to fight to get my name on the credits. I think they put my name on one song on like Spotify or something like that, but it's still not like all over. Or if it is now, then they did it like way after. But the first like 3 or 4 months, and I remember after like the first month or two, I was just like, yo, I'm off this album. Like, fuck it. Like, I don't even care. Didn't post nothing about it, didn't say nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is. But that was just like, that situation just really hurt because it was just like, damn, it's everybody, but it's all over, you know. And I don't know, man. That one really disappointed me, man, because I thought dude was solid, and it just wasn't. The very last text that I sent that went unread. Hold on. Thank you for letting me be a part. This is October 29th. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, bro. For real. You one of the best to ever do it. You really ain't have to fuck with me at all. I appreciate you, bro. Left me on red. Like, that shit just was like, it just made my blood boil because it's just like, when am I ever going to get my, I don't know, man. That let me down, man. That let me down.
Well, you've said that Kanye is your number one artist of all time.
This is a scary thing to talk about right now.
Okay.
I said that prior to all of these things that are going on, and listen, man.
Well, okay. I mean, regardless of whatever Kanye has said, no one is taking away the artistry, right? The artistry of him.
Yes, the artist,
Yes.
Kanye West, my biggest inspiration, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people's biggest inspiration, but yeah, the artist Kanye West, the musician Kanye West, everything else, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So you were actually in the studio with Kanye and you contributed a line, but then something happened.
Yeah. I talked about that on Roy and Maul. ASAP Rocky, he just didn't like the line, and he didn't know that it was my line.
Right. Well, just to get everyone caught up. So you're in the studio with Kanye, and you just basically suggest a certain line that Kanye liked and ended up recording, right?
Yeah.
So now you have a line on Kanye's song, and you're obviously
with Cardi
excited
B and Lil Durk. I was about to be lit. My name was gonna be on there, and you was gonna be talking to me about that.
Exactly. But then ASAP Rocky strolls in the room, and everything goes wrong.
Yeah, man. He comes into the room, and it's just something about that line. That was the one line that he just could not let it live. He had to change it. And then after Kanye insisted on keeping it twice, I think eventually it just turned into like a he was just determined, like nah. And like I ain't have enough clout to jump in there, like, so I had to just kind of let it rock. In hindsight, I should have just been like, man, that shit is hard though, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But nah,
well,
Rocky's a cool dude, man. Like, and he was really cool to me, so, shout out to ASAP Rocky, man. For real.
Okay. So you're sitting there after contributing a line to your favorite artist ever, and suddenly this third person comes in and says, I hate that line, take it out. And now Kanye and ASAP are arguing about your line while you're sitting in the studio.
Kanye insisted on it twice. He insisted on it. Rocky was like, nah. And Kanye was like, I don't know, man. I like that line though. I really like it. He's like, I'm gonna keep it. And Rocky was like, all right. So then we kept it, like a few more minutes went by. And then Rocky was just like, nah, man. You need to change it. Like he just was very, very persistent on it. So, he had to follow his gut, I guess,
Yeah, and Kanye ended up changing it.
Yeah,
he
he
didn't end
changed
up
it, yeah.
getting any writing credit on the song, and the song ends up being a big song, and that's just life.
That comes with the business though,
Yeah.
Lines get changed all the time,
Yeah, I mean, Kanye just dropped a song recently. I think he dropped it on InfoWars, the only platform that's really supporting him these days. When you look at all the insanity that has come out of Kanye's mouth recently, I mean, he recently said that Rosa Parks was a plant. He said that George Floyd didn't die from the cop's knee on his neck. And there's all the Jewish stuff. He's gotten dropped from every major company that's worked with him. In fact, I think Clubhouse just banned him today. He's not allowed to get on Clubhouse anymore based on some of the stuff that he said. As someone that has looked up to him musically for so long, when you see this type of implosion happen, what do you think?
Man, Kanye West changed my life, man. Like from college dropout, late registration, 808s and heart. I remember I got 808s and heartbreak with my first credit card. I got a Target credit card. And like, man, just everything, man. I've been studying his music for so long, so man, I appreciate Kanye West for what he's done for me and how he's influenced me and, musically. And that's all I want to say about Kanye West. Like,
Fair enough. When recently 21 Savage made the comments about Nas not being relevant right now in music, he just, makes good music and it has a really strong fan base. And ultimately, Nas and 21 Savage actually made a song together.
Yeah, for sure.
One mic, one gun. Did Hit Boy actually produce that or no?
Yeah, he produced that. And it dropped the same day that I dropped my video. I didn't, I had no idea that was going to drop. Maybe I would have held off because, at the end of the day, I don't got no issue with Nas and Hit Boy. That's my man, so I never would want to step on anything, but they just kind of caught me at the wrong time. It's like, I don't even know what people be going through, man, so yeah. But anyway, you about to ask something?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at, and this is something I've discussed on my show a lot, when you look at relevancy, I mean, I kind of understand what 21 Savage was saying. I don't think it was an insult. I think in hip hop, a lot of times people confuse relevant and legendary. I think that Nas is a legendary artist.
Facts.
I don't think that could be debated on any level. My point was when you look at the Spotify, top 50 charts, you didn't see any Nas songs on there.
Mm-hmm.
It was covered in, Her Loss was, every third song on there.
For sure.
Of course, and you had other big hip hop songs scattered throughout, as well as Taylor Swift being all over the charts. When you talk about relevancy and some of our legends, how ultimately do you feel about that as someone who's worked with Nas and who's worked with a lot of other legendary people?
I feel like, even talking about him shows how relevant he is, so I think he's definitely, I told him myself, I feel like he's like Tiger Woods of rap right now, especially after he won that Grammy, like for him to come back and, win that Grammy, like after all these years, you would think that's over with. Whatever is relevant, a lot of times I guess I gravitate more to the stuff that may be considered irrelevant today, like the stuff that is relevant may not all the way, fill my soul, so, I guess that's a very nuanced conversation. It just depends on the perspective. I got younger homies that, say stuff like that, like, I revere, Nas and Jay-Z on like how most rappers revere them, but, some younger dudes might be like, oh, nah, it's NBA Youngboy, you know what I'm saying? It's shout out to NBA Youngboy, anybody else, so I guess it's a generation thing, an age thing, my dad was a huge Run DMC Houdini fan, so I'm sure he looks at them the way I might look at Nas or Hove, you know what I'm saying? So just depends on who you talking to,
Have you checked out Her Loss with Drake and 21 Savage?
Yeah, for sure.
Drake said that's one of his top 5 projects of all time. Would you agree or disagree?
I mean, I feel like that's a good thing to say when you just dropped the album,
Right.
But that's not to knock, it's a fire ass album, 21 Savage went the fuck off. Drake went, he did his thing, so, that's not to knock it, but I don't know. I would have to give it a little more time. It's a lot of great Drake albums. And I'm not talking about If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. That's an album, but it's a lot of great Drake albums.
Yeah, it's funny because I interviewed ATL Jacob recently, who's worked with Drake, on a few times, and he actually pointed out that I actually sound like Drake, like our speaking voices actually sound the same, and I thought he was joking until someone actually put it side by side with his Rap Radar interview, and I'm like, oh, we do actually have a similar speaking voice.
Gotta drop a song, man.
Yeah. People actually thought it was like promo, that whole thing was like promo for Drake's album, but
you gotta drop a joint.
Yeah, man. I mean, it almost makes you think like if our lives had went a little bit differently, we could have swapped careers in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have been an interviewer and I could have been a rapper.
You never know,
like
man.
You never know. Like
You
it
never know.
just shows like people's life decisions and what they put all their focus into could ultimately, churn into something if you give it enough time.
No, facts.
From your perspective, when you heard about the beef that Drum had over the whole Cha-Cha Slide thing with Drake using kind of the same beat and so forth, and artists ultimately, like, listen, at the end of the day, Drake is functioning at the highest level, so he's going to do what's best for Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever falls by the wayside, falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
As in your situation to a certain way. I mean, can you kind of understand what Drum went through to having like his first big song and then having Drake sit there and just use the same beat and kind of overshadow it?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't catch the connection until after the conversation started going about, that. But when I first heard Hotline Bling, I didn't think of Cha-Cha, so I just thought it was a good song. But it is what it is. And, I completely understand Drum feeling the way he feels, so, I really kind of don't really have an opinion on that one. That's an interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a double-sided sword because at the end of the day, both of them came from a sample, right? So if you choose to sample as opposed to create original music, this is the chance that you take, that some bigger artist is going to say, oh, great sample. Let me go ahead and pay the sample holder.
And plus Hotline Bling just was a completely different vibe to me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really, I guess, like I said, going back and listening after the conversation started going, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I kind of see that, but originally just off top, like just sonically, it's just two completely different vibes, two completely different songs. I feel like Drake came at it pretty original, so, but, that's just outside looking in, so like I said, I understand, his perspective too, so, I don't hold that against him.
Okay, so my final question. Me and academics, we did a show recently, and we got into a whole argument of whether or not there's such thing as a bad record deal for new artists. Now, as you and I both know, when it comes to record labels, even some of the best labels out there, they will sign a bunch of artists, new artists, and the majority of them will lose 100% of the money you give them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that money can't be recouped. You
Right.
can't go to the guy that you just signed who sold 100 copies his first week and say, you owe me that 100,000 back. But out of those 10 artists that they signed, one of them will blow up and make tens of millions. And a lot of times they'll feel like they got a shitty deal and they want to change the terms. Like, for example, you're seeing that with Megan Thee Stallion right now. Like, she's beefing with her old record label and saying that the deal was shit and everything. But I'm sure that label signed a whole bunch of artists that they lost their shirts on. And they're trying to make that money back with Megan that blew up. Now, you are coming from an interesting perspective because you signed a publishing deal that kept you fucked up for a long time.
Yeah, actually, I actually signed that. They wouldn't let me sign my artist deal without signing the publishing deal. So I signed the publishing deal so I could sign as an artist. So yeah, my deal. And then from there, they brought me over to Epic Records and they got a bag out of Epic Records that I didn't get none of. And so, yeah, I would say, yeah, you can sign a bad publishing deal, a bad artist deal as a new artist, because I definitely signed one. I feel like today, the game is a little different for sure. But I got signed. I like to say I'm a part of the last LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. Well, no, Carmelo went to college, but LeBron, he went straight from high school. Like, I got signed straight off of talent. Because it wasn't, back then it wasn't, you got to have a certain amount of followers on Instagram and YouTube views and shit like that. It was just straight talent. Now it's like, if you could be as talented as you want, if you don't have this, that, and this and that, they're going to go with little kickbox and with the TikTok songs and shit, or even if they do sign, then they're going to tell you to make some TikTok songs, so the climate's a little different, but yeah, you definitely can, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, back in the day, Dre would sign someone who had a hot 16 that would rap in front of him and be like, boom. I remember this artist named Joe Beast. I mean, I remember Aftermath had a whole bunch of people on their label who never went anywhere just because Dre liked the way they rapped.
Just because
Yeah, he gave them unlimited studio time, but they ultimately couldn't come up with the hits. And all the money he spent on those artists are gone. Yeah, these days, a lot of times when people are signing, they already have songs that are getting millions of views.
They're taking less gamble, less risk. It's like, okay, you're already doing this, you already got this going. You know what I'm saying? It's like more of a sure bet, but. Yeah.
I mean, do you feel in retrospect that if you had shopped around more or if you had gotten a better lawyer or a better manager, you could have gotten a better deal? Because like you said yourself, you didn't really have a bargaining chip at that point. You were already viral on your own. And so it's not like you had a lot of...
See, the problem was with my situation, because the Dream was on fire. He was like scorching hot when I was fucking with them. So I'm literally like, I've watched this man make Fancy. I'm hearing demos of single ladies and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it just felt like this is the way. Tricky was on fire as well, because they worked together on a lot of things. So it just felt like this is just a sure fire way. And, me and my management at the time, it was just like, yeah, let's get in the door and then, we can renegotiate later. I really didn't have an understanding of publishing at the time, so I just wanted to just do my dream, you know what I'm saying? And I'm seeing the dream, living the dream. So I wasn't signed to the Dream. I want to clear that up too. I was signed to Tricky, but Dream was always around. That was really the inspiration. He was the artist. He was the artist that was pulling up, with the chains on and shit. And, so yeah, I just wanted to be like that. I wanted to follow. It just seemed like that was the path, so you kind of get lost in the lights and the glitz. And when you're young, you're not thinking about that shit, you're just, even Hit Boy talked about it in interviews and shit, how he signed a fucked up deal when he was young, and he's still in to this day, so yeah, when you're young, you're just thinking about just getting in, and that's when they take advantage of you. They flash your dream in your face, and you're just like, oh, this is it. Especially if you don't have a lot of connections. I didn't have any connections. When they dropped me, I was working. You know what I'm saying? I was working jobs, so I didn't have nowhere else to go. So young artists out there, man, watch yourself, man. Be mindful. Check your options. Weigh your options. You got options.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough position to be in. I mean, people are always saying, hey, Vlad, why don't you start your own label? You know all these artists, you got all these connections, and it's like, man, that's too risky of a business for me. On the YouTube side, I have a a better degree of predicting the outcome of my projects. When it comes to having a label and signing a brand new artist and getting that artist from zero to superstar is a treacherous route.
Yeah, for sure.
And you
For
know,
sure.
like VladTV used to be at SRC Records and Universal, and I got to see firsthand, you know, artists like Akon and Melanie Fiona and so forth kind of work their way up the ladder.
Mhm.
And I also saw a lot of other artists I don't name that were signed and had budgets that, you know, literally that money was thrown away
No,
and
facts.
is never going to be, you know, brought back. So it's just such a inherently tough business to be in, and to have someone that has the foresight, like a Dr. Dre, to see this artist and say, oh, this guy's going to be a star. This girl's going to be an icon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wrong a lot of times anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
It's like scratching lottery
yeah.
tickets.
Almost. In fact, I used to always say that as a business, you'll probably make more money with scratch off lottery tickets than signing new artists. Right?
I feel that way about writing songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Entertainment. It's tough, man. It's a tough business to be in. You know, but congratulations for staying in it as long as you have.
Thank you.
And actually having quite a bit of success as a writer, and, you know, still working on your craft as an artist. I really got to listen to a lot of your music, you know, as I'm gearing up for this interview, man. And I could definitely hear the talent.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I could definitely hear, you know, the fingerprints of what you're doing in other people's projects as well, hearing it in your own music. And ultimately, man, like, as someone that's been in the music industry now for 20 years, exactly 20 years, come to think about it, what I've seen is that in music, everyone gets their turn if they stick around long enough. You know what I mean? It may not come year 1, year 2, year 5, year 10 even.
Quincy was 50 when he made Thriller.
That's what I'm saying. Quincy Jones, 50 years old when he made the biggest album of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you see it, and as long as you keep pushing and keep putting out honest projects, and you've already, you know, tasted the superstardom on your writing side, and I feel that eventually you will get that same taste on the artist side as well.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You doing your thing
Quentin
too,
Miller.
man. You a big fan. Been watching your
Thank
shit
you.
for the longest, man. Keep
Thank
doing
you.
your thing, bro.
Thank you. And I appreciate when I did kind of bring up in the last interview, like the whole, you know, the whole Meek Mill thing, which obviously you were not ready for. You handled that very gracefully and very professionally. You could have stormed out of the room and said, fuck this interview,
No, for sure.
you know, and so forth. But you actually, you know, hit that shit straight on, admitted to it, took responsibility for what happened. And ultimately people knew what the real side of the story was. You know?
Man. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it,
man. Wish you all the best. Until next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.